In this video, I'll be discussing how we're going to create some high poly objects, and then prepare to be baked onto your low poly that we have here. So last video, I had some cleanup to do with the shoe, so I cleaned up that, and then we took care of our naming convention to make sure that everything is named correctly. Let's see. Okay. Yep, so the HP stands for high poly, the LP stands for low poly. And the idea is that anything that has anything before the HP and the LP should be identical. So for example, we have this back loop HP and back loop LP. So what should happen is the back loop LP and the back loop HP, the software will know, okay, these two go together, and this one's supposed to be the high, this one's supposed to be the low, and so that's how it identifies it. Let's go ahead and start to just look at some small details we can add right away. So if I were to look at my tread, we have the bottom of the tread is looking pretty sharp. I would like to add a little bit of a kind of a inset right here, that where like maybe kind of a groove would go. And so these small details are something that you typically would not model on the low poly version, but rather only the high poly. So what we're going to do here is select that. I'm going to just chamfer it, something small. That seems to be pretty good. And then I'm going to go to my polygon selection, select all of that, and I want to extrude it by local normal, and I'm going to go in just a hair. So something small that's going to be subtle but not too attention grabby. Oops. Something like that should be just fine. Okay. So now we have, here to turn off our wireframe, you can see we have that groove right there. Another thing to also make note of is you can also, when baking, you can assign a mask using colors. So for example, if I were to go to my material editor, we'll just open up M, and I just drag this and drop it right there. Okay, so as you see, that's that gray color. Now if I were to select another one, let's just say if I make this, we'll make this a nice bright pink. Just make something like that. Now what I could do is I could go to my side view. I can loop that around and grow it. And so maybe, actually I'll invert it now. And so now if I were to drag and drop this onto the selected, later on when I go to the next video, you'll see that we can paint this. So we can paint the low poly, paint this based strictly off the pink. So if I were to say I want everything that is pink in this high poly to be masked, we can choose that real quickly. And so you'll actually see how that comes in later on. Okay, so let's say that's all the detail we want. We can go ahead and hide that. Now we looking at this toe HP, we can absolutely smooth out a bit more. As you can see, it's a little boxy. So what we need to do though when doing these, let's try to do right now, you're going to see there are going to be a lot of weird kind of, the toe looks a little dipped in. There's this really strange shading going around the side. Just a lot of weirdness going on. So what we need to do is add what they call support edges. So what support edges will do is allow us to keep the same curvature. So you can go to Swift Loop, or you can do a just connect it by adding a straight line. Just in case you don't know, Swift Loop, you can my shortcuts are set up for that. And what you do is you go up to customize user interface, and let's type in here Swift Loop. Oops, let's see. As far as I go to Swift Loop, I assign mine to Alt S, and so you just click it, and then you can assign it, and then you just type in the hotkey section. So customize user interface, find the action you want, click the hotkey, and then you type in the combination you want. So mine's Alt S, and then you hit assign. It's pretty simple. So what a Swift Loop will do is, now I can go in here and just drop in a couple little couple support edges, as they call them. So something like this, you'll see. Okay, looks like I have creases. Okay, you can you want anything that you want to keep sharp, you're gonna want to have a Swift Loop there. So if it's something that doesn't need to be sharp, then you don't need a Swift Loop. So same thing over here. I want to add this nice and tight. Something nice and tight there. Let's see how that's looking. Okay. Okay, so now I should be able to, oh, I see that I need, okay. And once you are happy with what you have, you can, hide that. Okay, so again, these edges here you probably want a little bit sharper, so we're adding our support loops, they're called. Anything that you want to keep nice and sharp, you're going to want to add a loop to. Okay, and this might be a little strange because we do have some shapes coming off. I'm going to add a couple really tight loops there. I want this corner to be nice and sharp. So let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Add a couple nice sharp loops. So now let's look in this situation. I would feel that the Nike symbol may be a little challenging. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of this is looking really clean, or really sharp as you want. Like right here, you still have this sharpness right there. We may want to add a little more sharpness up here. Or even along these edges here, you might want to add a real quick loop that can keep these edges kind of sharp. You're just going to have to go through and find where these support edges need to be. So what I'm thinking though is what I should have considered is I should have done the Nike symbol first. So what I want to do here is I want to select this whole Nike logo on either side. So I'm going to make sure ignore back faces. Okay. Okay. Now what I want to do is do an inset. I want to do a group inset. And I do notice that I have some polygons in here that I need to, or some real tight loops that I need to get rid of. So looking at this, I could probably get rid of these two that I already put on. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So again, you'll select all your polygons on either side. Then you'll inset those just enough to give your give you some sharp edges. Actually, in fact, we can go even tighter and then hit plus, so it will do double. So now, if you're to look at this, and now if we're to add a loop there on either side, we should get saying it's a little sharper than before. Okay, so let's see how this is looking. Right, so it's a little sharper. We still do need to do some a few edits to make this stay nice and tight. So we send it that. Let's check that out. Okay, that's looking better. You may even want to, let's see, let's go back over here. I'm going to turn on the ignore back facing. Let's just chamfer this very subtly. Just like that, should be good. Let's do it to either side. Oops. Okay, so that should sharpen up the point a bit. So the tighter the edges, the sharper your model and high poly will look. We'll add that swift loop there, and add some into here to keep this portion nice and tight. Probably should add one right here. Okay, so let's see how this looks. If I turn off there, so yeah, this is looking really high poly and really sharp. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and convert this to low poly, and we'll hide that. Okay. Next, I will move on to the two side panels. These will be really simple. Let's just give that open sub div once. And this will allow us to model on it pretty easy if we choose. Okay, so these two are ready to go. This here, I believe we are pretty good on this model as well. I'm going to smooth it out just a little more. and convert that to poly, and this one too could be on its way. This one needs to just make sure I have smoothing groups assigned to it. Okay, and I do. So now I'm just going to make sure it's really smooth like I would like it. Okay. I'm gonna hide that. The laces, I believe they are exactly how I want them to be. And this one I wouldn't mind adding a little more softness to this sharp corner. So I'm going to go through each one of these, add a little bit of support loops on either one. Let's see how this looks. So yeah, it might have been a little too much. I'll go through here again, remove that. And I actually want to, I want to connect this, make it 2 segments, and then what? Push that a little closer to the side with my pinch. Okay, so now if I turn my open sub modifier, it should be a little sharper. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. So convert that to L poly, then hide it. This next one I'll do the same thing where I will select all these going up and down. I'll connect them, 2 segments, pinch, I want it to be right about there, and then put on modifier. Perfect. Okay, so that is ready to go. And the last one, I do believe this is pretty ready. So just make add a little bit extra resolution to it. And now what we can do is, let's say if you wanted to take this into your organic modeling software such as ZBrush, or there's Mudbox. Maya has some tools. There's Blender, which has become more of a thing. What you can do though is now you can export any one of these assets out, work on them, and then plug them back into into here to bake those onto your low poly model. And I'm not going to go into too much detail for this case on the organic modeling side. I believe that's really its own thing. But just to kind of give you an idea, let's say if you wanted to add some wrinkles in here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, let's say if you wanted to add some wrinkles in here, you'd be able to go to your modeling software and let me see if I can find my. There you go. Oops. So that might be a little too strong yet. Oh dang. Yeah, so just a little tweaking here that I had to do to make that, but you'd be able to just go through there. You can kind of paint in the wrinkles you're looking to paint. May even help if turn that off. Yeah, you can paint seams, all kinds of things. And so the more resolution you have, the higher details you can get. So I'm just painting in just some like little folds, and because I don't have all, I mean, this is not my ideal tool for when it comes to organic modeling. I'm just using a mouse and clicking through it. Okay. So the idea is that you'll be able to paint in those little textures, and once you're ready to go, you can, just now bake that into your models later on. Yeah, I think so. That's fine. Okay, so now that we have all of our, let me go ahead and check mark that. Now that we have all of our items made up, I'm going to turn all my high poly items on first. Okay, so now we have our high poly version. As you see, I have the wrinkles on the shoe there. You can, if you wish, you can go through and put the wrinkles onto, let's say, this this portion here. I want to put some wrinkles right in there, which I'll just do it real quickly since we're right there. Yeah, I'm saying just real subtle to give it a little bit of variation. You can put stuff on the inside of the shoe, or you want. Okay, maybe you want something on the back, or I guess the side parts might be good for that as well. Okay. So once you have everything that you want to be done, you'll select all your high poly over here. Go to your export selected. What we want to do here is pick where we want to export it. In this case, I'm going to just save it under my shoe demo, and you want to save it as a FBX. Okay. As far as this goes, you do want your smoothing groups. Don't need to triangulate. We don't have any animations, cameras, lights, anything like that. So I believe we should be good here. Hit OK. And now what you want to do is turn off all those. Now turn on all your low poly assets. So your low poly should be in the same place, or occupying the same space as the high poly. So after you have all your low poly turned on, you see there, we're going to select all those, and then we want to export selected. We're going to call this shoe LP for shoe low poly. FBX, same settings should be just fine. And so now in the next video I will open up our texturing tool and show you how I'm going to bake on that high poly to low poly.